Hey, this is Nick Kennedy, your Greyman. And when I first started doing these podcasts, I promised myself that I was going to have some fun with them too. So the other night, I was watching Brett Cooper. And if you don't know who she is, you should really check her out. She's very funny. She's very young. She's a Gen Z, and I'm a baby boomer. So it's a kind of fun contrast. I don't never met the woman. She doesn't know who I am, but she's just I find a good time. So if you want to check her out, she is funny. Anyway, she was doing the a show the other day with a show called I want to say it was like The Button or something. Um, and it was an interesting concept because we had something back to, I want to say 20 years ago, maybe, that might still be around with speed dating. And the one that I went to, I think was called 8 Minute Dating. And it was actually pretty interesting. The way it worked, in case you're not sure, is that there were, I don't know, like 8 tables. Uh, could be more. I don't know. Depending on how many people were there, I guess. And they signed you up to have 8 dates. Each date was 8 minutes long. So they'd give you like a little agenda, and you'd I got my first date on a table two, and of course you have no idea who's there, and it could be anybody. Um, and You had 8 minutes to get to know the person. And at the end of the session, you would write down the name of the person you liked, and they would write down the names of the people you like. I mean, I'd write down like Linda and Debbie and Denise or what have you, and and they would write down the names they like, and sometimes if you guys match, they would give the contact information. If I liked Debbie and Debbie liked you, would get to call each other or talk and maybe arrange a real date. I liked it. The trick to that, by the way, I made a lot of mistakes in my dating life. The importance is that women actually can have the same name. So if you like, Linda D, make sure you just don't put down Linda F by mistake. That could be a little uncomfortable when you end up calling somebody and you're like, oh, no, I don't like you. They tend to take it a little bit personally. Anyway, so the point of this was that on the Brett Cooper was showing is that these people were meeting for the very first time in that kind of environment. They didn't have the 8 minute thing. They had something like a button where they would talk, and if for some reason they thought, no, this person's just not for me, they would hit the button and that would end. It was kind of the same concept. What struck me was how ill-equipped these people were. All of them, to be honest with you, were to date. I just was shaking my head. Um, my qualifications, I'm on my fourth marriage, uh, which either means I really know women well, or I don't know women at all. You'd have to, ask them, I suppose. But I have dated an awful lot of women. I've made every mistake there is. And I just figured it'd be kind of fun for me to share some of the knowledge that I have on do's and don'ts. And I don't want to mean to offend anybody, but I think the Gen Z population is a little inexperienced in interpersonal communication. Now, how do I know that? Well, I know that because I had 2 children. And when they were teenagers, they'd be in the living room, texting each other rather than talking. And I'm a very paranoid person, so I suspect they were talking about me, but I couldn't prove that. But no, they just seemed to be way more comfortable texting each other than actually having a conversation. And I think things in my generation that were like just a given, um, it had kind of got lost in the technology shuffle. Now, nothing against technology. I work in technology and I have for 30 years. It's been very good to me. But to be honest with you, watching this program, it seemed to me that things I took for granted weren't there. And I think even Brett stopped it occasionally, actually quite a bit, to make a joke. Very funny girl. And she was pointing things out too. So I'm just going to, mention a few things that we're lacking on these people. And if you guys can, take anything home from it, hey, that's great. Um, One is called, I call it hedging your bets. Okay. And this dating is, and this might shock some of you out there, the younger crowd, dating is a game. And the sooner that you guys understand that it's a game, it's like playing poker, the better you'll get, you know? So, and that's not a bad thing, by the way, because there can be two winners. It's not like, when I say it's a game, it doesn't mean that you're trying to screw the other person over. I mean, I've been married currently to a beautiful Nigerian woman, the love of my life. I've been with an American, obviously, a Ugandan woman, Italian woman. I know I've dated some Vietnamese women too. I mean, the fact is that when you get to the table or whatever situation you're in, and you're meeting for the first time, if your idea is like, oh, women, if you're thinking, oh, I want a 6'3" guy that makes, $200,000, that's, built like, what's that guy's that, Henry Cavill, maybe you might hit the jackpot. Maybe he might be 5'10". Maybe he's not going to be looking like he works out all the time. But maybe his daddy is the president of Chrysler. You don't know. The last thing you want to do is, when you get to somebody who's not going to hit a home run, is to blow it by going like, people actually did that on the show. It's like they would sit down and go, oh, it's like, no. I mean, seriously, play your cards you're dealt. See what happens. You never know. I never thought I'm an Irish immigrant. I never thought in a million years I'd end up with a Nigerian woman, and I'm very happy now. So don't limit yourself. Hedge your bets. If you sit down, smile. You can have your doubts inside. That's fine. We all do, but don't fold out of the game before it even begins. I mean, don't do that. Topics to stay away from. Okay. I would highly recommend you do not discuss God. God is a very, very personal subject, and there's plenty of time for that later on if you like each other. That's one of those things too, where there's a lot of sharing with religion. It's a very personal thing. I've got a tremendously good relationship with God and always have. But if I met an atheist, I would think to myself, hey, there's a chance, if we really get along, then I might get her to see, my ways. Again, hedge your bets. Don't go, which I did see, by the way, on that show with Brett Cooper. The woman goes, well, I love God, so it's done. No, don't. And men, please, do not say, please do not say to a woman that you hate your family. A woman will be so done with you if you say you hate her family. I mean, not her family, your own family. You love family. You love the idea of family. You love your mother. If it's not true, you can always change the story. That's one of those things that, okay, you told a little white lie. But if you tell a woman that you just met that you hate your mother, she's done with you. She's done, no doubt about that. You might just get up and walk out. Movies are a good topic. However, make sure you have movies. And if you're gonna lie, a little lie, nothing wrong with that. So guys, don't say your favorite movie is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. And women, don't say The Notebook. Have something where you can both talk about. I mean, the truth can come out later on. That's, to me, not a huge deal. Don't talk about, I got so drunk last Christmas that I vomited all over myself and passed out, on the floor. Not something you really need to show or to tell about ever, but certainly not on the first meeting. If you really need to embarrass yourself, there's plenty of time for that later. If you guys have cheated on other people, you don't need to tell that or share that either. That's confidential. If you want to share that later on, go right ahead. These are actually mistakes I saw people make, by the way. I'm not making this up. Um, if guys, same thing. I mean, don't say, "Oh, I never want children. I hate children." And actually, for nowadays, you might want to say it's the women too. I actually do know relationships that ended because the woman didn't want children and the men did. So nowadays, it is certainly a topic that you need to discuss, but not on the first meeting. Keep it light, keep it happy. I mean, think about what I just said about little white lies. Little white lies break the ice. You don't have to admit to everything. That's why you stay away from certain topics. If you lie about God, that is not something that you're going to make up later on. If you lie about children, that is not going to be something like, "Oh, by the way, I meant to tell you, we've been dating now for 2 years. I really don't want children." That is terrible. But when you first meet somebody, you keep it light. Have you read any good books lately? That was my generation thing. But something, it might work now. If you say, "Yeah, I just read Catcher in the Rye." By the way, very overrated book. Did not like it at all. But yeah, I mean, it would give you a chance to talk about something that show a side of yourself, even if it may not be, But yeah, no, I mean, hey, I read War and Peace. Oh, this guy's an intellectual. Maybe he's really reading, Spider-Man comic books, but who knows? Yeah, so it's a time to get along, not to put lines down in the sand. The trick, is actually preparation. It is. You don't go in there and figure, okay, I'll just wing it, because you know what it'll come across as? Someone who's just winging it. Go in there prepared to listen too, by the way. I'll tell you a true story about my situation. By the way, I'm going to be sharing little anecdotes that happened to me, because I've made all the bad decisions, and I've been with women that have made some very, very bad decisions too. And I'll share some of them. Some I will never share, but I'll share a few. There was one time I was talking to a woman, and I was younger, much younger. Didn't know all the tricks I know now. And my mind wandered. And I still don't know what she was saying, but I tend to think that it was something bad, because I was just yesing her to death. And she finished, and I said, "Oh, wow, that's really great." And she looked shocked and said, What do you mean?" I think she said something like, "My mother's very ill." I'm like, "Oh no, I mean, great in a bad way." It didn't cover it very well. It was over. When you first meet somebody, one wrong move, it's done. If you make the right or the wrong move, whatever, the wrong move, I guess, people can, especially women with men. Women will shut guys out immediately if you screw up. That's why you have to be prepared. You do not want uncomfortable silences. Let me tell you, uncomfortable silences, plenty of time for those after you guys are married. Believe me. I could tell you stories about some of my marriages, but we won't get into that. Maybe one day. Okay, topics to stay away from. No ex talk. The last thing either one of you guys want to hear about on a first meeting is about your exes. Guys, do not tell her how you want to go and strangle your ex because blah, blah, blah. On the other hand, women, do not tell the guy on the first meeting about your really angry boyfriend who you're taking to court. He might be, I've been in that situation, by the way. I'm a big guy, and I've been in a lot of fights. I have no issues getting into a fight if it's justified. But why jump into something? You just met this woman, and she's telling you she's got an angry boyfriend? No. Why would I want that? Well, that is my alarm. No, why would he want to sign up for that? I mean, stay away from those kind of topics, Yeah, absolutely. Men, do not say that, when you introduce yourself, you're a big fan of drinking beer all day and watching football on Sundays, even if it's true. Okay. On the Brett Cooper, this is the dumbest thing, by the way. You always be confident. Both of you always be confident. But I will say, Generally speaking, women are more confident than men. And if a man is inexperienced, it'll show. And women are very intuitive. They smell fear. So guys, do not let the women smell fear. One guy on that show, I couldn't believe this. She gets there, and she was actually pretty cute. I mean, not for me. I'm probably old enough to be a old father or a young grandfather. I don't know, but regardless. And he goes, "Excuse me if I'm nervous, but I've never kissed a woman or held her hand before." Okay, right there. That is a deal breaker. The woman actually sat down and was nice, and he let her hold her hand. In reality, that woman would just say, "Oh, sorry, wrong table," and leave. No woman wants to deal with a guy in his mid-20s that's never held a woman's hand before. Even if it's true, that's definitely something you want to lie about. Always look confident. Always smile a lot. Have it, something, have a joke ready. Not good night, nurse. I actually knew a guy that went to 8-minute dating. And, I talked, if you were smart, you'd get there before they actually start the 8-minute dating. You go to the bar, you have a couple of drinks and start scouting out who might be at your tables and figuring things out. And this guy, he came over and he was telling me how he wasn't very good with women. And I'm like, well, just don't tell them that. Just, you'll be cool. You'll be cool. Act confident, tell a joke. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll try that. And some attractive women came over. And I go, go ahead, you've got to know a joke, tell it. And I forget what the joke was, but it was the most offensive joke I've ever heard. I didn't say it offend every woman here, but the guy had no clue. Tell a family joke, it's fine. Have a story. If you don't have one, make one up or borrow one. But just, don't tell anything off color. Do not show fear. I'll tell you something else that I highly recommend, and I know this is going to be harder for you young people out there, but it goes a long, long way. And that is, put the phone away for half an hour. Pretend you're interested. There's nothing worse than somebody looking at the phone when you're trying to make a good impression. And on the other end, and I think for guys this is more important, make sure you look in her eyes and show her respect. And furthermore, make sure both of you look at the other person and how they groom. That's really, really, really important. Guys, if her eyebrows are really well taken care of and her fingers are well maintained, she may very well be a keeper. And here's a little piece of advice, guys. If her shoes are nice, compliment her shoes. Women, you know what I'm talking about. You tell a woman her shoes are beautiful. That woman might have spent half an hour picking out her shoes. Guys, that's half the battle. You're an all-star. Women, tell the guy, ask him, oh, you must work out. And if you lean over, if you like him enough, and touch his arms, pretending you feel muscles, you're a winner in his book. Even though he looks like he hasn't hit a gym in 20 years. People buy things on dates if the person's attractive. Let's see. One thing to keep in mind, and I know nowadays, young kids seem to think that women and men are unilateral and they think the same. That isn't true. I'm telling you right now, that is not true. And if you think so, you're not going to have a good time dating. You have to know, a man's going to know a woman and a woman has to know a man. And I'll prove it right now. When men see a woman, they are looking for a reason to sleep with them. When women look at a man, they're looking for a reason not to sleep with them. And it's a lot easier to find a reason not to sleep with someone than a reason to sleep with someone. So guys, you screw up like, oh, I hate family, goodbye. You're not going to recover from that. She's already just put a big X in the book. Warning signs quickly, because I think I tended to ramble on. My wife said she loves these videos, but audios. But I got to make them shorter, so we'll try to keep this really quick. Never do's. Never say especially man to woman, but it works the other way. Never say, "Oh, you look like," you could say someone you think really beautiful. You could say, "Oh, you look like Britney Spears." Most of the time, the people are going to be offended. Um, I've been told that I look like Gary Sinise, John Travolta. I mean, no one offensive. I never said you look like, Igor from Dracula or Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think it's fine to look like John Travolta or Gary Sinise. Or Keanu Reeves, so I was told that too. Maybe, I don't know, but something, it does nothing for me. Okay, maybe it does something for you. It doesn't do anything for me. And telling a girl, oh, you just look like, I don't Taylor Swift. Maybe she hates Taylor Swift. There's nothing to gain and everything to lose. Stay away from that. If the person's got a car, look at what kind of car. If it's a minivan, red flag. If you can stick your head in the car or look inside, look on the back seat and see if there's a baby seat. If there's no baby seat, look for cookies or crumbs that a child was maybe eating crackers and she took out the car seat and, took it. Of course, I'm hoping you guys know to look for rings. Okay. If there's a ring, that's the first thing you'd want to take care of. What else? What else notes I got here? Oh, yes. Here's a big one. It's a very big one. If somebody asks you what you like to do, you have to understand they're not asking you what you want to do. The real question is, if we got together, what would you like to do? So guys, again, I like to hang out with guys watching football or, whatever. Say something like, well, I've always loved the beach. I like to go to a nice quiet beach and sometimes bring a bottle of wine with someone special. You may hate red wine, whatever. It sounds a lot better than hanging with the guys or, wrestling around on the floor watching football. The question is, if we were together, what would you like to do with me? Women, stay away from saying, I like to watch Lifetime movies. I'll tell you a true story. I actually was dating a woman, and I used to see her on weekends. And I spent one weekend in particular watching Lifetime movies and missing the NBA playoffs because I really liked her, mostly because she was like 30 years younger than me. But, was it 30? No, it's more like 20 now thinking about it. I was a lot older. Anyway, so I missed the NBA playoffs to watch Tony Braxton, I think, in like 3 Lifetime movies in a row. If you like a person, you'll do, but some things for them. Before you're too impressed, by the way, after that weekend, she borrowed some money, and then when the check cleared, she broke up with me. So it was an interesting relationship. But yeah, no, I think it's 20 years now thinking about it. But yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. The thing that I had emphasized is just preparation, and don't commit to anything that would turn the person off. All that can be done, and I could do another video on a first date and a second date. I can do all this. And if you guys like it, I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it because I get to tell my stories and give advice. But anyway, let me know if you like it. Share, subscribe, comment, whatever, and let me know. Thank you for joining. And I hope it was good for you too. This is Nick the Greyman signing off, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.